Hey everybody, Karen Petty here. In this video, I want to talk more about using Canvas for young learners. And specifically, I want to talk about how on the social side of things, we can have constant contact. We can build classroom community. But then on the cognitive side of things, we can do concept development as well. So come along and let me show you my ideas for how we can accomplish this. We start on our home page, such as this, and then we go to announcements. I firmly believe that this feature in Canvas can be utilized to do all of these things with us and for us. So let's look at this first one. I have developed a series of announcement blast cards. Now what are those? To blast something out means to give it out all at once, to give it in sort of a shortened amount of time so that it doesn't encompass so many things that it may overwhelm our youngest learners and their parents. So these blast cards that I've set up for pre-kindergarten through second grade can be used to take a concept and give it an introduction, so to speak, as well as to bring the class together with a little common purpose. So if you look at this first one, which is a scavenger hunt, I created this blast card over in PowerPoint. Now, if you use Google Slides, not to worry, I just happen to be I want to say an old PowerPoint user, but I've used it for a long time, and I'm not as familiar with Google Slides, but you can do the very same thing in Google Slides and just import it as an image into Canvas. I actually save as picture and then bring it in as a JPEG from PowerPoint. And that's what I did here. So you can see that it's extremely simple. Can you find something that begins with, I want it to be interactive, I want it to be something that parents can easily read and help their pre-kindergartners to do, and I want it to be something that they get back with me on. So make sure that you set it so that they can reply to the announcement, which would look like this. And then once they hit that reply button, it opens a rich content editor so that they can put their reply in there. Now, I would give the direction, such as I've done up here. I've asked you to add your text here for students and their parents. But this is where I would put a very simple, maybe two-step direction. And then once they've found something, then all they have to do is go below and hit reply and type in yes or do an emoji or a thumbs up. Now, in another video, I talked about how to use the emoji feature, but I'll do that very quickly here. I'm using a Mac, and I just press two fingers on my trackpad and my emoji and symbols come up. And then I click on that, and then I can put whatever emoji that I want to put in there. And maybe I want to find a thumbs up and put that in there. Or maybe I just want to type yes, and I can do that and not use the emoji at all if I'm a parent working with my pre-kindergartner. But it's just that simple. And then other students can see every reply that has been posted. And again, we want to build a sense of we're all working on this little small common purpose, and we are introducing a concept. Now, you know your concepts are going to be coming from I'm from Texas, and we use Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills and Pre-K guidelines. But from another state, you would probably have something different, or you would have something different. So start off with a concept that you want to teach. You want to simply introduce here in a blast, B-L-A-S-T, and then you will hone in on it more either during that week or the next week or whatever. But let's just keep it simple for now, just to get them going. For instance, with this initial consonant sounds and finding words that start with a beginning letter. Okay, so let's move on. That's a pre-kindergarten blast. Let's go back to announcements, and let's take a look at a kindergarten blast. This is a spelling card. Okay, so I wrote, Dear Amazers, read the word in the oval, do what the word says one time, which if they read the word hop, then they would hop one time, of course. And then how many letters are in the word? Do what the word says that many times. So 3 letters, they would hop 3 times, and so on. Again, the directions are very simple. Now, depending on whether or not your kindergartners are early readers or are already sort of fluent in reading, that's what you could expect them to do alone, independently. But many kindergartners don't read until first grade, and that's okay too. So they would, of course, have to have a parent or a more accomplished peer, family member to scaffold them, so to speak. So that is a blast card. And again, I made this in PowerPoint and then brought it over as an image. Moving on, let's go and look at a first grade blast card. Now, I used high frequency sight words here because those are part of our first grade TEKS, or Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills. And I did it twice, so I want to show you my before and my after and just see what you think. The first time I did it like this. Now, these are scrambled high frequency words, and they would depend upon, you would use the words that are in your curriculum at the point in time in which you need to present them. I used some that I found and just placed them here, and I scrambled them. So these may not be the words that you, I'm not touting these particular words. That's what I'm trying to say. Use the words that are in your curriculum. But I scrambled them. This may be too many to start with. And I kind of think it's bland. And I didn't even notice it until I went back and reviewed it before getting ready for this video. And I also put the answers down below so that they would be right there in case they wanted to. And I don't believe they cheat. I don't mind if they get a preview of the words prior to doing the exercise or activity itself. I absolutely do not call it cheating with our youngest learners. It is just one more way that they can cement the information. They can understand it, know it, hold on to it better. So I'm fine when children do that. I would never want to make them feel guilty for looking at the answers first and then unscrambling the words. But again, I don't think this is my best work right here, and I'll show you why. Let's go back and look at my makeover. I think this one is much more inviting. So I made, in PowerPoint again, I made a card so that it would be, I think, more just fun for them to use it. And I placed their high frequency words, the same scrambled words I placed here on the card. And then I put the answers below as well. But the answers are sort of farther down so that they can refer to them if they like. You may not even want to mention that they're there. It's up to you, just depending on how you want to pull off this activity. So I wrote, "Dear wonderful students, I'm blasting out your high frequency words today. Unscramble them and give us an 'I did it' in your reply." Now remember, you can put anything here. We're working with first graders. You know your students, and then you can put something there that is really appropriate for the kids in your class. You could use an emoji. You could have them type something else. You could have them to literally, in their reply, type the unscrambled words. It's all up to you. But I just think that this has a better presentation. I might make it a little bigger if I were to redo it. I would enlarge it. But I really like this better than just that white background and then the words there. But again, it's a matter of preference. Okay, last one. I did one for second grade. I'm so excited about this. I just think it's one of the best ways to send announcements, either daily or every other day, or at least weekly, to keep our kids involved with us. And parents appreciate that so much. So let's look at our second grade. This is a spelling list. And these are silent letters, the B, the T, and the K. Now, I've had some thoughts about this since I created it, and I think that it's important that you have lots of different ways in which children can work with spelling words. I grew up, and I know it's still done today, I grew up teaching children to write their spelling words 3 times or 5 times or whatever. I think that there are better ways today, and in today's teaching times. And I just put some down below that I thought I would just mention briefly. Have them to do 1 or 2 of these as you send them out. You may not want to do more than 4 or 5 spelling words at a time. You could alternate sending the list parts of the list out every other day, or whatever works best for you. But I probably would not send out all of the words at once unless I had a really good activity that I knew that my students, again, it's about the students that you have in your class, that they could do it all at once. The main thing here is that we do not want to overwhelm them. It's just a blast. It is not supposed to encompass everything about this spelling list. We just want to introduce these words to them. So for that reason, maybe I would just choose one or two of the things that I've listed down below. These things that I have listed would not be in my email to them. I'm sorry, my announcement to them, which comes in an email. I would only put one or two again. So maybe they would find 4 spelling words in a book, or using magnetic letters or any kind of alphabetic letters in order to make their spelling words. If you limit the number that they work with, it is so refreshing for them. I can see children's faces when they are faced with finding all of these words in a book, or newspapers or magazines or wherever, or in environmental print. It's just really hard for them to think of doing all of that at once. But if you break it up in small bite-sized pieces, it's so much easier. Let's look at a couple more. Make a sentence with 4 different words. Fill in the blanks. I went to a blank and saw a blank, and use as many words as you can. I love this one. Make a choo-choo train with the words. Have them to write the words all in a row, like a train, without any spaces, and then they can color the words, color each word that's in their spelling list. They can make a pyramid or a standing triangle, really, out of the words. Draw a flower and write 1 word on each petal. You see how these are so much different than just giving them a worksheet, which you may be doing as an assignment, but at this first introduction, I'm not going to give them that much to do. I want to break it down so that it's much simpler. Last one that I've skipped over, but that I love. If you have not been to spellingcity.com, it is really important that you visit it because it requires no password or username. You can literally just go to that site and the children can begin immediately putting in their spelling words. Now, the activity I did, it took 4 of the words and then it made a sentence and said the sentence back to the child. It's very easy to use, and I think they would really enjoy that. I don't normally suggest that we send children out of Canvas. I'm not against places like Seesaw and other wonderful activity places. It's just that with our youngest learners, it's just problematic for them to leave Canvas and then come back. But with Spelling City, that's something that they could do independently of this announcement, and I think it would be fine for 2nd graders. So, that is all I have for that. I hope that you will start thinking about making some blast cards. And in a previous video, I talked about how you can make a digital file box and put it in Canvas in your modules area. It would be awesome to make some blast cards and then house them in your modules area so that you would have them as your go-tos anytime that you needed to make a new announcement. At some point, you would have enough that you wouldn't have to be creating blast cards every week or every few days. But that's what I have for that, and I'm so glad that you joined me, and I'll put some information down below that will tell you some fonts that I used and a couple of other things. And as always, if you need more information about working in Canvas, I have a super duper beginner's course on my website, and I'll link to that as well. So that's all for now.